Welcome back to the Cast from the Crypt podcast, the show about tales from the crypt and other comedically horrifying things. It is also a chronicle of one man's journey to get over his fear of a scary puppet from his childhood. I am that man, CJ Roby, and this is episode 2 of Cast from the Crypt. Oh my god, we made it. You guys, we did it. I can't believe that we've got so far. But seriously, I do really appreciate all of the feedback that I got from episode 1. I'm glad people enjoyed it, and hopefully it just gets better from here on out. There's going to be changes, and I'm going to be growing this and evolving it as it goes. So please, if you do like it, tell your friends, tell anybody that you know who knows about Tales from the Crypt, and get them to give it a listen, see if they like it. All right, so episode 2 of Tales from the Crypt, and All Through the House. This was their Christmas episode, even though they dropped this in June, not even July. They had a perfect opportunity to do a whole Christmas in July thing, but no, they chose it in June. I think it might be because so this episode was actually kind of like a remake of a 1972 short that was in the Tales from the Crypt movie. Yeah, there was a movie before the show even came out. I didn't even know this. I didn't realize that Tales from the Crypt had an original movie, but there is a British version, and well, not version. It was all British people, and in that they actually have the Cryptkeeper and everything, and it's a weird anthology movie. I don't know. We'll get into it one of these days, but I think that All Through the House was a kind of a shout out to the real Tales from the Crypt fanboys, you know? Just like, hey guys, remember, hey, I know that you guys really loved this one. You loved it so much we made it into a movie last time. Right? This is the real Tales from the Crypt. We got all the shit. So I think they were fishing for those hardcore fans. But you know what? This was a good episode. This is a really good episode. This is definitely when they're starting to pick up the more like comedy stuff of the series. So they were starting early. Episode 1 wasn't that funny. Well, I mean, it was kind of funny. He set up a whole battery to this dude's fence. If you went back and watched it, the dude getting electrocuted was hilarious. His hair goes up like a fucking movie. It's great. This one definitely has a lot of like comedy beats to it, you know. There's a lot of stuff that happens. I don't really have much to talk about in the production of this episode. There's not really like a monster or anything. It's a very self-contained episode. Just a crazy Santa and a lady home alone with her sleeping kid on Christmas. That's the most like special effects or anything like that was needed was the corpse that was laying around, but we'll get to that. So let's just get right into breaking down the episode, because once again, I really like this episode. Just watching it, it was great. I loved it. Really, my biggest gripe with the episode is that they didn't do a Christmas themed, Christmas version of the theme song. Put some sleigh bells behind that terrifying pipe organ. Yeah, come on, you guys could have done something fun with it. This episode drops June 10th. 1989. So hey, this show's a little older than me. I can't wait until I catch up to myself. I wonder if there was ever an episode that was released on my birthday. We'll see. Once we get to 91, we got like 2 more seasons of this podcast to get to before I'm even born yet. The episode stars Mary Ellen Trainor, who you might know as the mom from Goonies. She was also married to director Robert Zemeckis at the time. What else is she in? She's in a bunch of stuff, like Monster Squad, Lethal Weapon. She was on Roswell for a long time. Did anybody ever see that show, Roswell? The Crazy Santa Man was played by Larry Drake, who was also in a lot of stuff. You saw Darkman. He's the bad guy in that. And a scary fact about him, he actually died in 2016 from complications of like a weird blood cancer that made his blood thicken in his body. Like that's a true ass horror story. That's more terrifying to think of than pretty much anything that I'm probably gonna see in this show. It also stars Marshall Bell, who was in Starship Troopers, Natural Born Killers, and the little daughter is Lindsay Whitney Berry, and she's just some little girl. She might be like Zemeckis' niece or something, because I looked at her IMDb page and she had like a bit role on Back to the Future. The other people who worked on this show, or on this episode, and remember, this show pulls so much crazy talent. Catherine Rhea was the casting director. She casted Christine in Ghostbusters. She got Bill Murray for Ghostbusters. She put together Keanu Reeves and why can't I remember? And Ted. She put together Keanu Reeves and Ted. I'm sorry, don't be mad at me. She was also the one who flagged down William Sadler from episode 1 to play Talbot. After his audition, when he was leaving, apparently she just like hung out the window. She's like, "Wait, you're perfect. Come back." So that was Catherine Rhea. Production design by Virginia Lee. Music by Alvin Silvestri. Listen, you definitely have heard or seen this name before. He's done too much music for me to even name, but I'll try for a couple of them. This guy did the music for Roger Rabbit, did the Super Mario movie, the fucking Avengers, like not the old one, like in Infinity War Avengers. He did all of them except for the second one. Steven Semmel, Dean Kundi, the man behind the camera on Halloween. Come on. Fred Decker, a lot of Monster Squad people. A lot of Monster Squad and Back to the Future people. But, I mean, that's because Zemeckis directed this, and he probably got all of his Back to the Future buddies. The episode starts off with Santa Claus. Hey, it's Santa Claus. No, it's not actually Santa Claus. And you can tell immediately. It's not even like it's not a good costume or anything. You can just hear the disgusting raspy voice of the Cryptkeeper. I'm sorry, John Casser, your voice isn't disgusting, but you did a good job. But it's just the Cryptkeeper in a Santa mask, and he's just throwing out the look. He's got some amazing pun work here. I'm just gonna say it, because he makes like Christmas and horror puns at the same time. I don't know how he does it. I have no idea. But he introduces everybody into the story, and it's Christmas time. Ooh, it's Christmas time in this lovely little home. Chestnuts are roasting. Nat King Cole is singing about it, and the Christmas spirit is really in your soul in June. Not even in July. Come on. But Mary Ellen Trainor doesn't really have that Christmas spirit, because instead of giving presents and everything, she murders her husband with a fire poker. Yep, she just sticks it directly into the back of his head, and it's really great. There's a fun like little Looney Tunes moment there when she does it, because she grabs the poker from the fireplace, and he's just like, that fire's getting a little low. Why don't you go get that poker? He's like, you hear me, you dumb bitch? Like, let me have the poker. He's like, oh, you want the poker? Yeah, let me have it. And then she just domes him and just cracks him. It's pretty great. And like even when she pulls the poker out of his head, which she has a difficult time with, which will come into play a little later. But when she pulls the poker out of his head, it even makes like a cartoon pop. Like it's seriously. So her daughter comes downstairs and she's like, "Oh, mommy, like Santa Claus is coming." Yeah, Santa Claus is coming. Don't worry. Go back up to bed, or else he's not gonna come. And she's like, all right, well, whatever. Fucking, why didn't my stepdad say goodnight to me? She's like, he's fine. Don't worry about him. He's sleepy. And it just shows his face just looking all stupid, just all dead. Like it's a he looks like a dead moose. His tongue's just all hanging out. He's just the stupidest looking dead guy. Like seriously, it's so they might as well have just drawn X's on his eyes at that point. He looks so dumb. So they go upstairs, and the little girl's just like, "Oh, mom, I saw Santa Claus," and mom's just like, "Yeah, you saw Santa Claus, like whatever." Um, Tucks kid into bed. Little girl is just like, "Oh, mommy, what do you want for Christmas?" And her mom just all menacingly just looking off into the distance, just like, "Yeah, I already got what I want for Christmas." Yes. Just all sorts of menacing. If I was that little kid, I'd just be like, what do you mean? Why did you get your present already? So after her kid's asleep and her husband's all dead, she calls up her boyfriend, and this guy, honestly, this guy is my favorite character in this episode. Like, and he doesn't even make an appearance. She gives a call to the Nick Monster. Yeah. Hey, you're calling the Nick Monster. Leave your name, number, and your measurements, and I'll get back to you. I'm just like, the Nick Monster? What the fuck? Is that supposed to be, is that just his, like, I don't understand his nickname. Is he just Nick, and he's, like, pounding Monster energy drinks that didn't exist back then? Or is it supposed to be like, you get it because it sounds like the Dick Monster? Yeah, that's how I want to be known, as the Dick Monster. I mean, you could just call yourself the Dick Monster, dude. Like, but anyway, she calls him up and she's like, "Darling, I did it." And also, so she's, if I had a voicemail that was like, "Oh yeah, leave your name, your number, and your measurements," my girlfriend would beat me with a fire poker. So, and this bitch is just killing dudes for the fucking Dick Monster. So, whatever. It's whatever. I just wondered, like, is that his burner phone or something? Does his job call him and he misses messages and they have to leave messages for the Nick Monster? But who knows? So she's giving him a call. She's like, "I know you told me not to call you," which all right, bitch. And she's just looking at her husband's will. She's like, "We've done it. Now we're gonna be all set. We're gonna be rich, baby." And like, I couldn't read it in standard definition. I think the will just said, like, "Please give all my shit to the Nick Monster," or something like that. So she goes and tries to move the body. She's got to go get rid of it. And she's dragging him through the house outside, complaining about his weight. And it's like, bitch, you knew you were going to have to dispose of this body. You should have been doing some push-ups beforehand or something. So, yeah, she's just like, I keep asking you to lose some weight. How many times did I ask you? And it's like, bitch, this whole thing just makes me want to get fat so I can just, if my girlfriend ever tries to murder me or anything, I can just inconvenience her as much as possible, try to move my fat ass and get rid of me. So she drags the body outside of the house, but she misses a radio announcement talking about a crazy Santa that is out loose. She's got bigger problems to deal with, though. So she's moving her husband's body, she's dragging it outside, and she ends up locking herself out of the house. Which, hey, there's your karma right there. Kill your husband, get locked out of the house. Man, what a twist. Good job, Tales from the Crypt. But she's about to, so she's just got like a well on her property. She's about to go drag her husband over there with the little girl in the ring. But all of a sudden, this dude pops up and fucking grabs at her. Like, he starts choking the shit out of her. And she's just like, oh, fuck. Like, oh, no. She, like, reaches for an axe, but he just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have the strength. He just dies. So that was a close encounter. That was good. She's fine. So now that her husband is thoroughly murderfied, she goes back inside. She heads back inside, and suddenly she's just hearing jingle bells, and she's like, "What the fuck? Whatever. It's Christmas time. The spirit's in the air. Of course, I'd be hearing jingle bells." But it's not that simple, because she turns around and there's a crazy Santa Claus just looking right at her, just right there. And he's got an axe ready to chop this bitch up like a Yuletide log. So they fight out in the outside for a second. She gets pinned up against like a shack or something. He's got the axe like right at her face. And she breaks off an icicle and slashes him across the mouth and gets him looking like Joker, just like, oh, you want to know how I got these scars? I was dressed up as Santa. Ha. Yeah, and then she kicks him straight in his nuts, and he gets out of there. So she gets inside, and he's still after her. She gets away from him, closes the door, locks it up, and she calls the cops. Like, you should. But you probably shouldn't if you have, a dead body outside that you killed. So there goes that plan. But the phone rings, somebody calls her, and while she's distracted, Santa throws a fucking tire swing straight through the window and just gets her. It's pretty crazy. Like, it's a scene straight out of any good horror movie. And she gets fucking got, but she's still got the axe. So he gets her, and she just back chops him, and he stumbles out into the snow and falls. It doesn't. You don't really know if she like got him with the sharp end or not. Spoiler alert: she didn't. So he's just knocked out. He's just on the ground. She answers the phone because the phone calls again, and it's the police, and they're just like, oh, hey, there's a crazy Santa guy, and we're sending deputies around the whole area just to like check up on people and make sure that they're not getting stuffed into present boxes or whatever, trampled by murderous reindeer. So she's just like, oh, well, cool, thanks. Like, the police are gonna be here? Awesome. So she's got like 20 minutes till a cop shows up and figures out that she killed the shit out of her husband. So she's just gonna blame it on Santa. She just pins it on Santa. So she goes back outside to bury the hatchet with her ex. Yeah. Oh, God, kill me. She goes back outside to just put the axe in him and make it look like a murder. And she ends up locking herself out of the fucking house again. She will never learn. She will never learn. But when the door locks, it wakes up her daughter, who's just like, "Oh, is Santa here?" And then she goes to the window and looks outside, and Santa's not there, so she's just all sad. Yep, Santa's back up and roaming. So after failing a bunch of times trying to put her axe in this dude, she goes back inside, calls the police back. She's like, "Oh no, Santa killed my husband. It totally wasn't me. Someone help me. Oh no." And while she's doing that, she looks outside and sees that the axe is gone out of dude's body. So she starts flipping out, runs to the other side of the house, sees that Santa's gone, gets back on the phone, and she's like, "Oh God, no, please, seriously, you gotta get here. Like, it's real." And the police are just like, "Okay, all right, well, we'll be there in a minute. While we're on our way, do you have any weapons or anything?" So she runs to grab her husband's gun in the closet, but it's on a high shelf, and she just can't fucking get anything done in this episode. It is just insane. So his gun is up on the shelf. She's just like jumping at it to grab it, and while she's jumping, guess what she does? That's right, she locks herself in the closet. She just doesn't need to be around doors. If she survives this encounter, she just needs to be put away from all doors because she can't handle them. She doesn't understand their use. So she's trapped in the closet. And oh wait, no, I can't do that. R. Kelly's a monster. And she hears a ladder go up next to her. She's like, "What the fuck?" She looks out of the little closet window, and Santa's just climbing up this closet. Just he sees her in the closet. He's just looking at her, smiling, just like, and you could hear the daughter outside. The daughter wakes up, she opens her window, and she's like, "Oh, Santa's here. I knew you'd show up, Santa." He's like, "Yeah, what's up?" And lady's just screaming her face off, just trying to break down this door to go save her kid. Door gives way. She busts through, runs up to her daughter's room, and she's just like, "Oh God, like, where's my daughter?" And she hears her daughter downstairs. Oh, mommy, like, "Oh, I'm over here." And she just runs over there, and she's like, "Oh God, thank God, my daughter's safe. I can see her downstairs, and she's just like hanging out." And then her daughter just like walks into the room, like she's grabbing Santa's hand, pulls him out from like the kitchen or something. She's like, "See, mommy, I told you Santa was coming. I let him into the house because he didn't even need to go down the chimney. I helped him." And then the episode just ends with the lady just screaming. That's all she can do in this moment is just scream. And then dirty Santa Claus is looking up, and he gets the last line of the well, not of the episode, but of the short. And he just looks up at her, just all smiling with his meth teeth, just naughty or nice. And she's just screaming, and then the episode's done. You never know what happens to her, although I mean it's pretty obvious. So that is the episode. Cryptkeeper comes back. The shot is just on the weird Santa mask, but it just looks like he's carved Santa's face off, and you know that's great. That's just fantastic. I love it. He's talking over it. He's narrating the shit, and the camera pans to the side, and he just pops up out of the darkness, just and man. I'm not gonna lie. It's like a little mini jump scare for TV for him, but it made me shit just a little bit. He comes at you pretty quick. More puns are made. He does something about like Christmas fear instead of Christmas cheer or some shit. I don't fucking know. But he does assure us that the little girl was probably fine, other than some mental scars, and that Santa only wanted to chop up her mom and, I don't know, make her into fruitcake or something. I listen. Who knows? Who knows what crazy Santas are all about? Who knows their motivations? He does get a pretty good line in because his last joke is, be careful what you ax for Christmas, because you just might get it. It's time for a fucking segment. It's time for Comic versus the Show. So, this episode was taken from a story in Vault of Horror number 35. And I read through Vault of Horror number 35, and actually I really enjoy this comic. I really like the art style to it. I really like a lot of like the panel shots of her just being like horrified. She just has like a crazed look of guilt and fear in her eyes, like at all times. It's ridiculous. There are a couple of differences. First off, in the comic, it's actually Santa. It's actually Santa Claus in the beginning, not this weird, obviously a man who murdered Santa Claus and put his skin on. No, it's just Santa. When the radio announcement comes in, talking about the crazed Santa, first of all, it comes on Worldwide News, which I don't know if that's the name of the news channel or if it was actually World News that some crazy guy got out of an asylum and put on a Santa suit. But it was called World News. But she doesn't miss the radio show. She's listening to the radio and she's just like, oh shit. There's a Santa that this guy's like right here. They said Pleasantville, that's where I am. In the comic, the actual radio report is the thing that tells everybody that Santa doesn't go after children or guys, that he just likes the ladies. He's looking for his Mrs. Claus. I really should have actually used this. In the show, she actually gets a name. Her name is Elizabeth in the show. She says it when she's calling the dick monster. And in the comics, she's just, some lady. Just, a lady on Christmas Eve kills her husband. She doesn't go outside in the comic. There's no outside time at all. It is all within the house. As soon as she hears that the killer Santa Claus is coming, she tries to board up the whole house, but then she remembers that she's got a dead body, and then she remembers that there's a Santa Claus on the loose, and then she remembers that there's a dead body. So it's just a constant back and forth of her trying to fortify the house and also get her husband out of sight. It's craziness. Her husband doesn't come back to get her randomly. he doesn't pop up and start choking the shit out of her again. And what else? And Santa in the end, Santa is still let in by the little girl. That's the whole thing behind it. But in the comic, he doesn't put a ladder. He's not climbing up to the little girl's window. He's just gone for a little bit, and then the lady goes to check up on her daughter, and her daughter's not in the room. She's like, oh shit, where's my daughter? She's like, Mommy, I found Santa Claus, I let him in. and he's just standing there with just I think he has the axe, I'm pretty sure. So, little children are dumb. When it comes to Santa Claus, you can't trust them with anything. It's the easiest way to trick a child into letting you kill their parents or whatever, is just be like, oh no, I'm Santa Claus, and this axe, nah, this is just for mommy and daddy. Don't even worry about it, kid. And then at the end of the comic, surprise, it's not actually Santa. He takes off his mask and it's the fucking Cryptkeeper. Oh, you got me. You got me, Cryptkeeper. I was so hoping that I'd be done with you, that Santa killed you with his jolliness. But you're still around. All right. So, everybody, that was ... and all through the house. Yeah, I forgot to add the ellipses on the title at first. That was episode 2 of Tales from the Crypt, and also episode 2 of Cast from the Crypt. So thanks for hanging in there, guys. Once again, I really appreciate the shit out of you guys. Episode 3 is Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone. That will be next week, and that episode is about a hobo who's almost immortal. Almost immortal. His problems lie when he gets to the last bit of his immortality, but up until then, it's good. So the final thing that I want to do is Shriek of the Week, where I talk about some of my favorite horror stuff that I've been consuming recently, other than Tales from the Crypt. But there is none this week because Dr. Sleep, as I'm recording this, it hasn't come out yet, and Dr. Sleep is going to be the next Shriek of the Week thing. So the only thing that I've got for this week is hey, go play the mobile card game Teppen, Capcom's real-time card fighter. They just added Nero from Devil May Cry, and like their new cards. Hey, it's kind of scary. Devil May Cry is kind of scary. They got like demons and stuff like that. And right before that was the Day of Nightmares pack, and that was just like Resident Evil and zombies and shit. Look, it's terrifying. It's all the art is crazy and good and scary. The strategies that people are using on you in ranked is real fucking terrifying because they've got all the good cards, and it's fun as hell. It's fun as hell, and I need more people to play with. So go download Teppen, go get into it. Look for me, CJ Demoka. That's where I am, or that's what I am for everything. And that's it, guys. That's all I got for you this week. Thank you once again for listening. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the podcast. And if you have, do me a favor and leave a review, or go give me 5 stars, or do something on any of the podcast services, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, anything like that. Any way that you can find a place to leave a review for the show, please do it. It would help me out so much. And tell your friends, tell anybody that you know that likes podcasts or likes horror or just likes comedy, that your friend CJ, look, we're all friends here, right? Your friend CJ, your best buddy, just came out with a podcast, and that they should listen to it. All right, everybody, if you would like to catch up with more about me, you can look me up, CJ Demoka, online. That's Twitter and Instagram, or you can go to twitch.tv/CJ Demoka. That's CJDAMOCHA, for some more comedy and gaming stuff, and just to hang out and talk to me. Come tell me that the episode sucked, or that you really loved it, or whatever. Guys, thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.